Christmas atmosphere. We're supposed to be in the Christmas atmosphere. And I don't know if it's just me, but I'm not feeling the tang, the zing of Christmas in the air. But here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM, we are going to try to give you that aura of Christmas. Trust me, we do know that the circumstances in the country right now is not friendly. The economy is also not friendly, but we have to push on, and we also need to be in the season of giving, of loving, of sharing. All right. So if you know you have the opportunity and you can give, you can share, please do, while you apply caution in the process. So Christmas is not just on the 25th of December. It begins right from the month of November, if you do not know, trust me. However, I must tell you that in the spirit of the season, I wish all of us a bountiful month and a prosperous 2023. In the meantime, on issues in the news today, I am not alone in the studio. I have with me Mr. Adeshola Kukoyi. He is a founder, Equilibrium Perspectives, and he's also an academia and an educationist. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, Mr. Adeshola?
I'm doing well.
Are you feeling the zing of Christmas? Can you feel it?
Well, we have to make it happen.
We have to make it happen. I like that. That's very good. Okay, so what is the agenda on the table today on issues in the news? Now, the federal government has approved a new national language policy which makes mother tongue a compulsory medium of instruction for public primary school pupils. Making this disclosure on Wednesday last week was the Minister of Education, Adamu, while briefing reporters on the outcome of the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari at the State House in Abuja. All right. Now, while explaining that government is aware that its implementation will be difficult, the minister revealed that the mother tongue will be used exclusively for the first 6 years of education, which means that from JSS1 to SS3, while it will be combined with English language from junior secondary school. All right. Now, according to Adamu, even though the policy has officially taken effect, it can only be fully implemented when government develops instructional materials and qualified teachers are available. Adamu further explained that the mother tongue is to be used in each school and will be the dominant language spoken by the community where it is located. The minister also said government is prepared to preserve cultures and their peculiar idiosyncrasies, stressing that so much has been lost due to the extinction of some local language. He also assured Nigerians that all Nigerian languages, which he said are over 600, are equal and will be treated as such. So hence the question: is it possible to implement over 600 Nigerian languages in junior secondary schools across the Federation? That is junior and senior secondary schools across the Federation. That is the question. And that is why I have with me Mr. Adeshola Kukoyi, who is the founder, Equilibrium Perspectives. If you had heard him while we did our Independence Day special edition, I think you will understand the reason why he was invited on the program today to help us diverse this topic. Mr. Adeshola, welcome once again to the program.
Thank you.
Now, the reason why I decided that we should have this conversation is this. For the federal government to have been keen to bring this, on the table to announce this and try to see how they can infuse it in our public schools, junior and secondary. It's a good one. We'll understand that it's one of the reasons. I think they must have conducted a survey and realized that our local languages are fading away. And our local languages is definitely our identity. So if you go to countries like China, Korea, even Germany, you notice that the official language is their language. Even when they have to attend international conferences with other leaders across the continent, they speak their language while there is an interpreter who interprets in English, which is very good. But then there is something peculiar about us. We don't have one common language. The only one common language that we speak is English language, which everyone kind of understands. But with over 600 languages in this beautiful, peculiar, multicultural dynamic that we have in this country, how is it going to be possible to implement what the federal government wants to implement in schools?
Thank you very much. the initiative on mother tongue language, for training, that is as a medium for instruction and the teaching of mother tongue itself, it's not a new thing.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, is an initiative that the UNESCO has been promoting since the 50s.
Okay.
And the justification is that there is threat to the use of mother tongue around the world. About 7,000 languages have been identified globally, and the lack or the reduced use of certain languages is practically making them become extinct, which also threatens the cultural and intellectual heritage that goes with those languages. Now, the issue here is that is there a need for the implementation of mother tongue, as medium of instruction, or the teaching of that mother tongue in itself? Absolutely yes. Especially the teaching of the mother tongue itself, because as languages go extinct, a lot is threatened with it. Now, the UNESCO has done several studies that justify the value of adopting mother tongue, in instruction, especially at the primary school level. And that in itself has also brought the idea of cultural and linguistic diversity, multilingualism for peaceful and sustainable societies. As a matter of fact, February 21st is celebrated, as an international day. And of course, some countries have also shown successful outcomes, like Kenya, I think Gabon, Guinea, and a few others. So it's something that can be achieved in terms of the arguments in favor of it.
Okay.
But in the Nigerian context, we need to look at the what, the how, and the why. Like I've said, the why is very justified.
Okay.
There is need to preserve our cultural and intellectual diversity. So for that reason, it's a welcome development.
All right.
And since it's a policy statement is to announce the intention to have that as a national, policy. And it's not actually new. It's been, back and forth for a very long time in Nigeria. And certain stakeholders too have tried to justify it through their own studies. For example, there is the Ife experience, where the Faculty of Education of the then University of Ife, now Obafemi Awolowo University, carried out a study, actually a project called 6-year primary project in the 70s, I guess. And then that actually showed that using Yoruba in that context, was very effective. And recently too, there is the Stellar initiative. I think it's in the Northeast, which I think that it stands for Student Empowerment, Language Literacy, Arithmetic, something like that. Through language literacy, arithmetic. They also have done some things in that regard, which shows successful outcome. So the why is actually, clearly justified, is necessary. And the what is what you have actually presented. So the thing we need to now look at is the how.
Yes.
The how.
Okay, so here is the issue now. The federal government has not really officially ought to have comment. They've mentioned it, so if there are schools that can try to implement it in their curriculum, very good. But they want to make it a system whereby the indigenous language, the local, the mother tongue will be basically the official form of communication in that school. Now, I think what the federal government is trying to say is, for example, if you're somewhere in Ekiti, the central language there is Yoruba. If you're in the north, the central language there is Hausa. If you're going to a place like Benue or Delta, possibly maybe their central language there, I don't know the name of their language.
Well, Steve, there's Udom.
Idoma, exactly. Then when you go to Tiv, of course, so it means that schools in most of those regions, since they know the central language of that region, that is the kind of, that is basically the modules for the communication they're going to have. But now the question is, if they need to create instructional materials in those languages, we already have a lot of textbooks in English languages across various subjects for these children in the various categories they are, going for their learning. How would they achieve that feat? It's an expensive one, actually.
I agree with you. It's not going to be a very simple task. That's why, like I said, the how is what we should be asking. Before we talk about using the mother tongue as language of instruction, we need to first of all even teach that mother tongue in the first place. The people that are expected to use it must understand it themselves.
True.
And the truth is that as much as we all talk about Yoruba has its own, dialects,
That's
the
true.
Same way. Even Igbo too.
I'm telling you, the Anambra has its dialect, the Imo has its dialect, the Abia has its dialect, the Enugu has its own dialects.
Yes. And for example, even the Yoruba, language, there is a stress, the do re mi, that actually also changes the meaning of words that are spelled the same way. For example, the word Igba. Igba is calabash.
Okay.
Igba, the same spelling, is time. Igba is 200. Igba, garden egg.
Okay.
So it means that there is need for a thorough understanding. Otherwise, we will lose the very essence of this policy, which is actually a good one. The thing is that for us to have a deep intellectual understanding of our values, our heritage, and so on, we need to understand the concepts, their context, and their content. The whole idea is that for us to have a true technological advancement, we need to go back to our roots. Imagine the time of the COVID-19, when there was a lot of confusion about the choice of antibiotics and what have you. Most people started resorting to local, remedies. That's because we've always had the heritage to deal with this kind of situation. That's the truth. It's the thing is that we need to understand where we are coming from, where we are, to know where we are going. It's very important. And if you look at history, the history of vaccination in the West, US in particular, it was it had African roots, although that person never got recognition for it. The point is that there is nothing we want that we don't have. What we need is the right understanding and connection with it, especially in the area of medicine. And food security.
All right, so let's go back again to the mother tongue, policy. Now, for example, I think one of the essence of Unity schools at the time, I don't know how effective Unity schools are now, currently because of the security situation, especially in the northern part. At the time, it was that it was meant for integration, ethnic integration, where we are all one. So if you base in Lagos and you write the common entrance exams for federal government college, they would transfer you they could take you to Ogun, they could take you to Calabar, they could take you to the north. I'm a product of a Unity school. Now, I schooled in a place that was dominantly, Hausa was a dominant language spoken there. Now, in a scenario like that, of course, the language that was spoken to us was English language. But you will hear most of the conversation amongst the students spoken in Hausa. And because you don't want to be left out of the conversation, sometimes the gist can be so interesting. You want to be in the know, so you want to learn Hausa. Sometimes too, the teachers are teaching, and before you know, they can't. There are some things they have to explain better in the mother tongue, so they go the Hausa route in speaking it. Now, scenarios like this, they now decided to, okay, if you are Igbo, you will have to learn Hausa language, meaning that the language studies, because we study either Hausa, Igbo, or Yoruba. So you would have to go for Hausa if you're Igbo. If you're Yoruba, you go for Igbo. If you're Igbo, you go for Hausa. They just integrated it like that. So we are all, it's almost like let's all try to learn each other's language. But there was a situation with that. Because the language, the subject wasn't taught every day. It was taught once in the week. So would I say the vehemence to propel the students to want to learn wasn't there. So the only way the students would learn is if they were really by themselves interested within their peers, because they want to be in the know what their peers are talking about, that they learn the language. Now, imagine if you now want to make that language that is difficult for maybe an Igbo person or a Yoruba person to understand within a space of time, that language becomes the dominant and all that. In intend to infuse a system in place, like something that is an intermediary in the meantime, before that policy is in-depthly implemented.
Well, when it comes to public policy, an authority, David Easton said, public policy is the authoritative allocation of values. And another authority, Thomas Dye, said it is what the government chooses to do or not to do. What that means is that as far as the policy statement is concerned, it's a statement of intention.
Okay.
Although it came with the word compulsory in primary school. Well, the thing is that I believe they are just testing the waters to know the response of various stakeholders. Because before a policy can be implemented, there has to be the authorizing agent and there has to be the implementing agent. And that requires that there's a framework for its implementation. One of the essentials of such framework will be manpower development. There has to be investment in manpower.
That's what he actually said.
That's very important. Then in this case too, there's need for instructional materials because if I go into like I had the opportunity to have studied in the north and I've been around some places in Nigeria and because I have interest in language, nobody had to compel me. Maybe because some people say tongue growers are good with languages, so it was a matter of interest. So I was even interested in Fulfulde, that is the Fulani language, the Kanuri language.
That's nice.
So I could connect with them as I relate with them. It's very important when you relate with people that you understand their language because they are able to connect well with you. And I must confess that the place where there is the best language, when it comes to desire to integrate other people is the North. I must confess, especially the use of the Hausa language.
Yes.
And the truth is that it is actually very important because I tell you, if I go to a market and I speak Hausa, I get better deal.
Yes.
I get better deals. So there's
the response.
Yes, there's that cohesion. There's that cohesion. And we actually need it for our national development. What we have not been able to do is to align with certain sets of languages that we can start with. Because the first thing is that there's even some area of convergence that has triggered my own personal interest. For example, the word osikapa, I think that's Igbo, right? For rice, is that not? Meanwhile, in Hausa, it's chinkafa.
Chinkafa.
Yes, so it made me understand that there is some kind of alignment in those two languages, especially the fact that they both have farming of rice as a practice, unlike the Yoruba word iresi, which is from the English word rice. So it means that it is to some extent foreign, even though we have a father rice, but it might have been adapted from the colonial, exposure.
That's true.
Meanwhile, in Yoruba will say okuta, which is stone. The Igbos will say okute. Right? Meanwhile, the Hausa will say, well, I'm trying to get it now, but the point is that there is some kind of convergence.
Yes.
So I think I also say Duse. I know Duse is rock, but right now my mind is just. So the point is that there are areas of convergence in those languages.
You're right. It's Duse.
Then
stone.
Yes,
actually Duse.
Duse. Yeah. Then something like alubasa.
Yes,
Albosa,
onion.
that is Yoruba. Outside we say albasa.
That's true.
Palm, I can't remember what Igbos call it now, but the point is that there is some natural areas of convergence.
Yes.
But like I said, even if not for anything, in the area of food and medicine, that is key to having sustainable societies.
The thing
we
is that
need to preserve
the languages have similarity. If you say
heritage.
Yoruba say alibosa,
Yes.
Hausa say alibose.
Albasa.
Yes. Igbos will say yabasi. That's you can see this
yes.
the similarities
Very
in the
good.
language. It's almost like they call from each other.
Yes.
But the thing now is this: understanding the peculiar environment of our educational system. They say that they would need to get teachers. So we'll have to train teachers who can, drive this home, implement this. Because I recall, I'm also a product of the northern part. I went to unity school in Lantang North. Now, in that process, they had limited teachers to teach. At the time, though, in that process, they had quality teachers. I will tell you the truth. I'm a product of that, and I would say that they tried. The teachers in those schools tried. I don't know about now because it's been a long time I actually went to that region, but the teachers tried. But they still had a lack in terms of having quality teachers teaching various subjects. Now, the thing is the curating of materials, instructional materials. How do you, for example, if you're going to say the dominant language in each region would be the mother tongue that will be spoken there, remember that it's not everybody residing in the West or in the South that's indigenous of that region. All right, Nigerians are all over the place, so people are habitating anywhere they find themselves comfort or somewhere close to whatever it is they're doing to sort themselves in terms of income, and having to adopt that mother tongue language. That's good, but the issue we're talking about now is the instructional materials. So how would they have to convert mathematics, English language, biology, intro tech, or all the subjects, to that region's mother tongue? That is a huge one. That's a major one. And remember again that if you have over 600 languages, some of those languages are not so popular. So, and it's only when you go to that particular state that they speak that. If in a situation where an individual is in a state close to that state, but the mother tongue is not that language, what then happens? How do you help with the instructional materials? That's another one. We're trying to, how the nature of this country, when they bring up policies like that sound interesting, we need to think about how we intend to go about sensitization, implementation, and all whatnot. Now, that is also another scenario that is set aside. I think one of the reasons also that I feel the government is coming from is the fact that we're losing our identity internationally, where you have a lot of children who school abroad not knowing how to speak their language. So at home they're spoken to in English, and they go to school they're spoken to in English. When they come home, they are completely foreigners. They don't have an idea of their language. In that instance, would this help in having to reintegrate themselves with their mother tongue?
Absolutely. There is actually, like I said, the need to introduce the teaching of mother tongue. There's no doubt about that. But adopting the mother tongue as language of instruction, that is the one that requires a lot of technicalities. And we must also understand that even the English language itself has various, variants. For example, there's a Queen's English.
Yes.
There is a Canadian English, and there is American English.
True.
And
there's the Scotch English.
Yes, they tend to vary in terms of the choice of words, the pronunciation,
the stress,
and even in terms of the context which the words are used. And somehow, though officially our English language is supposed to be the Queen's English, that is British English, but we have been exposed to a lot of technological contents that tend to be American English, which tends to confuse our young ones.
True.
Very, as in serious ways. And so the point is that the same problem we're having with the use of English itself is also what we are going to have to deal with when we are adopting our various mother tongue. But like you said, the first thing that perhaps that policy needs to rethink is the statement compulsory.
True.
It should be interest based. And the thing is that we can use technology to drive that interest.
Okay.
Because if people like, there are some songs that people listen to, and the lyrics have a lot of mother tongue,
Yes, attached to it, yes.
and people find it interesting, and even those that are not, native speakers, they adopt
They're able to understand it.
If you go to churches and mosques, people read the Quran in English, in their local languages. I think it was Bishop Ajayi Crowther that first translated the Bible into Yoruba, and today Yoruba is used to teach in the church, and nobody is having problem with that.
You have the Yoruba newspaper too.
Yes, it took some people to take the initiative to develop the solution. The same way in the Hausa, there is the at least I was in the north. I went to a Christian missionary school, and we use Hausa in the church. In fact, the popular Yesu Yache, Nine Anya, Nine Gaskia, Nine Rai, so it's and the local people are able to connect with the message, and there's no problem with the understanding of the word because it is spoken in their own local language. Tongue. So it's very important if we want people to really understand. And the truth is that there is no language that does not have speakers. It's just that the adoption is what is the problem. Now, I agree with you that, for example, a cosmopolitan place like Lagos, where there are so many people, people from different backgrounds, what should be the language of instruction? Do you expect teachers to have to teach in all the languages when the classroom is as mixed with
several people?
Several people. That is very, very impracticable. It's very impracticable. However, like I said, certain languages can be used to develop instructional materials, and the interest of the students can be, got, through, some creative means
through which they would love to be attracted to the language.
Yes, appealing. Because the truth is, especially for kids, because this policy is actually more focused on primary education.
Education, yes.
Children can speak
primary and junior secondary education
languages. They have the natural fear. A child can, develop ability to speak several languages. I used to have a cousin when they came from Brazil. He could not speak, English very well. It was Portuguese, and it was that's all he could speak. Now we met recently, and I told him, "Oh, what happened to you?" He said, "Well, since nobody, continued with him, so he just lost it."
Lost the tongue.
Meanwhile, someone like me at the time that I was out of interest, I was able to pick some words in Portuguese at the time that I still remember today. And he does kutubein, ola, akaza, those things, especially the fact that there was one horror movie, we watched back then. So I just couldn't forget, those things. Meanwhile, he was brought from Brazil. He couldn't speak any other thing but Portuguese. But now he has forgotten everything.
Because there was no one. If you're married and you have to see how you can introduce them to schools in most public schools, not even private owned schools. So that's another issue now in public schools, because most children attend private schools. So if you're a parent who is currently experiencing the whole mother tongue dilemma, where what your children know how to speak, enunciate properly is just English language, they're finding it difficult to understand the local dialect and how to communicate in them. Can you call in and share with us your experience and see if this policy by the government is actually a good one? So send in your comments on YouTube. All right, all you need to do is go to the search bar on YouTube, type Voice of the People 90.3 FM, subscribe, so that whenever any program of your choice comes on, you're notified and you get to be part of the conversation right on there. You can also send a WhatsApp message on 0700 903 9039, and we'll read out the message right on the program. You can also call the number 0700 903 903 903 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. The conversation we're having this morning, I feel, is an all-inclusive one. The reason why I'm setting up that topic for today is that we need to understand what the dynamic is and how we intend to work with it. How can 600 Nigerian languages be implemented in primary and junior secondary schools across the federation, considering the challenges that we're currently facing at the moment. We have teachers. We do not have enough teachers, first off, to teach in these schools. That's number one. Number two, about the instructional materials, how do they intend to go about it? Although the government is saying that it's a step-by-step process, they need to go about sensitization and all whatnot. How long will it take? And then let's come home to the family. Do you think that we're not doing the right thing? The parents themselves are also creating the jeopardy by not trying to imbibe that spirit, that mother tongue, teaching in their children. If the schools are not teaching, but when they reach home, you are communicating to them in their mother tongue, so they do not lose both sides. So exactly, can you call and tell us what your experience is if you're going through that dilemma? Mr. Kukoyi, another question I want to ask is this. We are having a morality problem as well. I think this is also one of the scenarios. It's a culture kind of dictates. Not even you say kinda. Culture dictates, and culture helps identify one's origin, one's belief, and one's tradition. In a scenario like Nigeria, where our culture is kind of reserved, that's the moral input of what our culture teaches is more reservation, respect, submission, and a form of cohesion amongst community members and family. Do you think we're losing touch in that value that our language elicits?
Yes, definitely. And it goes beyond just the belief system. It's all about values, attitudes, and beliefs. And if the major one has to do with attitude to success and work.
Okay.
The younger generation today believes that success, it's
okay. Hold on, we'll have a call. Oh, we lost it. Continue.
Okay. It's made to believe now that success comes without work. That is why there is that song Yahoo and meaning that most of them think that you can actually be successful without having to work.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Welcome to the program. Can you turn down the audio of your radio, please? It's important. Hello. Oh, we've lost that connection. Please do call back. All right, do call back. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. And the conversation we are having this morning on issues in the news is this: how can over 600 languages be implemented in our public schools? How possible is that? I have in the studio Adeshola Kukoyi. He is the founder of Equilibrium Perspectives. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Esther.
Good morning, how are you? Welcome to the program.
I'm very fine. This is Dave calling from Medigo.
Dave, thank you for calling in.
Yeah, your vibe this morning is very, very recommended. In fact, the vibe you brought up to the stage this morning is kind of, your voice is very loud, clear, happy, and I don't know, it seems you really enjoyed your weekend.
No, I wasn't feeling fine last week, but I got myself better now. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr.
Adeshola Kukoyi.
Yeah, Adeshola Kukoyi. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah. So, this is a quite interesting topic you've chosen this morning. And at least for once, I can cool my head from all this headache you did this to it. So, yeah, it's quite interesting. It's a welcome development. And I think this will really take us back to our roots. It will allow us to identify who we truly are.
That's true.
So, yes, and I think this is one thing we have been missing all this while, that is bringing all these problems that we are facing nowadays. We really forget whom we are. We're forgetting our roots, our culture, and everything. So, yeah, to start with, Mr. Adeshola, right?
Yes.
Okay. You mentioned globally 7,000 languages we recognize globally, right? So, how many of these are our own, out of our 600 that we have in this country, at least 600, how many of it are in that 7,000, if we have any, please?
Well, these 7,000 is according to UNESCO.
Yeah, I understand.
Yes.
So he's asking that we have about 600 languages in this part of the world. In UNESCO's report or index, how many of our languages is in that can be identified in there?
Yes, there are different authorities, but we can say about 500, languages, from Nigeria is, embraced internationally.
Okay.
I cannot give you the exact figure, that's the subset of
that.
Yes.
Okay.
That figure alone, if you can even mention 500, that's very good. That's great. So why, if you can recognize us like that globally, then why are we, why are we not identify ourselves from whom we are? So it means this idea by the Minister of Education, whatsoever, it's a very welcome one.
All right.
One thing I think it would help. It will help us. It will help the children build their confidence.
True.
That's one thing. Definitely. If you observe it, two children when they are fighting, tell them to come and explain themselves in English. You see how they will kind of. But when you ask them to explain themselves in the language they understand, you will get the clear picture of what caused the issue and everything. So it will really help in that aspect to build our confidence. And I think it's from the primary school, not from the DS1 and SS1 that you mentioned. It's from 1 to 6.
All right. Okay.
It's from primary 1 to 6, and from to the English entirely. So it will also help the child to identify, like I said, where we are coming from and everything. It will help in interrelating. I'll be able to understand your language, even not completely, at least. I'll be able to part of your language. I'll be able to interact with you confidently. It's not as if you won't feel cheated when I'm speaking my language with somebody else. You feel you're talking about you.
That's true.
All this kind of thing, it brings grudges, it brings internal problems. But when I can understand your language, you'll be able to interact
properly,
freely, fully, and talk to each other. So I think in that aspect, it's also a very good and welcome development.
Right.
And I think it will also, like you said, it will also help in improving our cultural identity. Yes.
Yeah.
It will bring us back to where we're coming from. It will reduce immorality and everything like that. So,
right.
And even an illiterate parent would be able to explain or relate perfectly with the child's homework. To be able to, even if she's not educated also, but once you bring the homework in the language you understand, you'll be able to teach the child very well and help the child also. So the parent also will have a lot of role to play in this aspect. So to me, it's a very welcome development. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for calling on the program. I do appreciate that. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. And you can send a WhatsApp message to 0700 903 9039. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Okay, so we're having this thing where the call comes in and then all of a sudden just goes off. I don't know if it's the network or it's whoever is trying to call. 0700 903 903 903. 0700 903 903 903. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, I'm cool.
Name and location, please.
My name is Ken from Prayer Estate, Namu Odofi here.
Oh, wow. Ken, welcome to the program. You sound excited.
Yeah. Adamu is leaving a legacy that he will be remembered for at the tail end of his history.
Okay.
Yes, because it has been my passion. I have a daughter who is a graduate, an English major.
Okay.
But we communicate in my Delta Igbo language. When we meet with my siblings, their children, when they come, they'll be looking at two of us as if we have just fallen from the outer space. At her in particular, even with her, in short, she speaks my dialect. My wife is from Imo. She speaks the wife's dialect.
Wow, that's beautiful.
You understand? So she communicates freely. So I believe, and this thing, like somebody, I think one of the callers, our guest there, had just said, this our language is able to penetrate other people. Once you're able to speak my language, there's a kind of natural welcoming that it brings about. But the discussion was going on the other day, the challenge we have is complex.
Yeah.
If you watch very closely without being biased or being sensational, the Yorubas, the Hausas, you see more of their children speaking their, at least among the three major languages now. But the Igbos, I don't know whether it has a psychological thing that started from after the war.
I agree
where
with you.
they were being looked down on.
Yes.
So Igbo man want to identify, so he prefer to speak Yoruba than to speak his own. So
Or possibly more of English. More of English.
You understand? So because of that, you see that average Igbo man want to speak he would begin to say how now, or which and that. Then when you speak Yoruba to that person, he begin to answer you or speak Hausa in other language.
Yes.
So let us kill this inferiority complex and buy into this noble idea. I mean, I'm so proud of this man because, well, you know, they have tried, but this particular point now, I doff my cap for him.
Right.
For implementation, we cannot push for the whole 600 or whatever, maybe 1 million. But at least, if we are able to have these three major languages, where it will be a pride that you went to maybe Canada and you are able to communicate. I somehow in one of the languages. That is, I think it will be. I appreciate your guest.
All right,
I appreciate
thank you.
Your guest is equally vast because the way he's we call Hausa own, you call Igbo, you call
Yoruba own, yes.
It's a decentralized Nigeria in that aspect. For onions in my own delta is Yabas.
Yeah, okay.
Onion.
Why we is Yabasi?
Sorry?
Yabasi. Your own is Yabas. Why we call it Yabasi?
You see?
So that's the thing we're talking about. So he's actually thank you very much for calling. So he's Delta Igbo, right? I'm from Imo. So this is the what I call it, the complexity of the language thingy, where there is no central speaking Igbo language, Yoruba language, or Hausa. You understand? But that's basically what we're talking about. How do we inculcate it in the curriculum, in the instructional materials that the federal government is saying they want to do? And he's also saying that Nigerians should not be perturbed. That about 600 of the languages will be part of the curriculum across the majority of the public schools. How that is going to take place is what I don't know, because the idea is you don't want to use one particular language and overshadow other languages so they don't seem like they are not important as well, considering the multiplicity of this part of the world. 0700 903 903 903, that is the number to call. We're streaming live on YouTube. You can actually send your comments right on there. Okay, so if you cannot call in or possibly type because you're at the office, you can send a message while you're virtually watching us, and we'll read your comment right on there at YouTube. Also on WhatsApp is 0700 903 9039, and once you're able to send your message right on there, we can read it out here on the program. Okay, so the conversation we're having this morning is this: how can 600 languages be implemented in public schools, especially from the primary and junior secondary schools? And I have with me in the studio Mr. Adeshola Kukoyi, who is the founder of Equilibrium Perspectives, and he's also an educationist. And again, another question I want to ask you, Mr. Adeshola, is this: embracing language, as especially right now that we're having ethnic diversity, it's endemic, whether we like it or not. It's a major problem in this part of the world. Do we think this implementation of this policy would bridge that vacuum?
Absolutely. What it's important first is to identify areas of convergence.
Okay. There
is no Nigerian that would, for example, say they do not identify with the Korea nuts. They would say Yorubas produce it, the Igbos celebrate it, and the Hausas eat the Korea nuts. Now, the Yorubas have a name for it. The Igbos have name for it. So also the Hausas. But that does not change the value of the Korea nut. As a matter of fact, I find it interesting when the Igbos celebrate it. When you are in their program, they'll say, stop speaking English. Korea not they hear English. Then they start, making, a very deep, statements in the Igbo language, with and through which they celebrate it. And the value is so significant that in most marriages,
yes,
Korea not identifies or is identified one way or the other.
True.
Now, the point is that
It symbolizes peace, unity,
yes.
reconciliation, integrity.
Yes. And in some, so the point is that we can start with models that have that, convergence. So that's one, way of going about it. If we have, story lines around kola nuts, there is no culture, no ethnic group in Nigeria that cannot relate with that.
True.
That is one thing. Then another is the tree. There is no culture, ethnic group, or what have you that cannot relate with tree. So if we create, like I said, remember I talked about the 3 C's. The concept, which is an idea can be mental or spiritual. Then there is a context, which is the interpretation of the idea. That is, psychological. Then there is the content, which is the physical form that an idea will take. Now, the point is that if we identify with, like for example, I talked about the kola nut, the tree, there's no ethnic group that cannot identify with the concept of a tree. Then also water. Fela said water, get enemy. So the thing is that there are so many things and values we can actually identify with to teach this mother tongue at the initial stage, and let it be based on interest. The rest, will be shocked the way these children will adopt it at the level they will take it to, because they too have a lot that they want to contribute.
True.
Now, let me talk about the challenge, even with the use of English language, for example. The British would say trousers. What the British will call trousers, a pair of trousers, the Americans will call it pants. Yes. Now, the Yorubas, if you go and meet an elderly woman and tell her, oh, I can't find my pants, she say, pata. Because the understanding of, pants in, is
the underwear.
Is the underwear. So sometimes there's confusion that comes with even the use of English in itself. Then, and even the pronunciation.
Yeah.
There's a lot, of, diverse application in pronunciation, in spelling, and many of our kids are getting confused, especially with the, continuous exposure to American
Western culture. Yes. All right, 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. Like I said earlier, are you experiencing that mother tongue language dichotomy at home? We had a caller who called who said that, okay, he and his daughter, they communicate in their mother tongue, but they have cousins and relatives who come and look at them like they're strangers, possibly because they do not understand the language. Who is at fault in this instance? If the schools do not teach, anyway, the schools have to teach the official language, with this, of course, English language. That is the official language that most of the teachers teach the pupils in school. Is it not the responsibilities of the parents or the guardian to initiate these children, all right, or their wardens in their mother tongue? If you as a child come home and your mother or your dad speaks to you, communicates to you in their mother tongue, I think at that stage it helps. And then you go to school and learn the English language. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Good morning.
Good morning. Please turn down the audio of your radio, please. It's important.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning, madam.
I can hear myself. Turn down completely the audio of your radio, please.
Okay.
Have you done that?
What I actually tried to say.
Hello?
Hello?
You haven't done that. Turn down the audio of your radio. There's a feedback. I can hear myself. You can hear yourself too. All right, please, when you do call, turn down the audio of your radio. You can't want to hear yourself while you're speaking. All right, there's a distortion, there's a feedback. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. And you can also send a WhatsApp message on 0700 903 9039. So I have this WhatsApp message which says, "Good morning. I like this development. I have been agitating for this for a long time now because it's appalling how our children cannot speak our own dialects. It's not a must that we start with the whole languages. We can start with the three popular or pronounced languages for now. Please, they should make the teaching compulsory even in private schools too. And this is from Ejima Chibuzomval from Ikotu. Thank you so much for that WhatsApp message. Again, I was trying to ask you a question. That is it not the parents, at least this time around, what are the parents doing, especially for certain tribes? There was something the last caller said which I seem to toe with, the Igbos. I don't know what happened, but they lost touch with their dialect, especially towards the children. So some of them who send their children abroad, or some of them who sent their children to Montessori schools, right here in Nigeria, I don't know what happens. They don't communicate with their kids in their mother tongue. So the parents communicate in Igbo, and if the children are not interested in the language, they lose it. It would have happened to me anyways. But I think when I was getting in secondary school, I realized that, what's going on? My tribe members are speaking and I was not understanding some certain things. I needed to talk to myself that was wrong. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, madam.
Good morning. Welcome to the program.
Okay, madam.
All right.
For what you people are saying,
yes. Again, you are the one who called the last time. You haven't turned down the audio of your radio. Turn it down.
No.
Hello.
Hello.
What are your name and location, please?
Okay, my name is Chidera from Amukuku.
Chidera.
Yes.
Please wear your radio. Off make us speak Pishin. Maybe you go understand. Off the radio complete. I still didn't hear myself. I beg.
Case study.
Okay, are you hearing me now?
It's better now. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Okay, for what you people are saying, me and Amiibo. But many languages is indeed. But many things that is in English. Igbo people used to put some, not all of them is in Igbo.
Okay.
And what we call something for Igbo, some of them are the same thing in Yoruba. Like what the other people are saying, that's Ibata or Okute. I thought one Yoruba person and the thing is similar together.
Wow.
So with Igbo, Hausa and Yoruba. So our own is Ibata and their own is Ibata or something like that. Yes. So what people are doing is good.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Chidera. Stubborn Chidera. 0700 903 903 903. That is the number to call. 0700 903 903 903. We just take one call and wrap up the program. So, Mr. Adeshola, for us to wrap up the program, what do you think we should do?
Well, in order to get results, we have to understand the policy.
Oh, hold on, there's this call. Hello? Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, this is John Legend calling.
John Legend, how are you today?
I'm blessed God today.
All right, John Legend, please go ahead.
You see, it is good for us to deal with this, our languages now, because as I'm seeing things now going on, in the next 5 or 10 years, most of our people will just lose their language. And that is terrible. Even most of people now have lost their language.
Yes.
You understand? And I know when we are in school, they used to teach us all this, our dialect.
Yeah.
Definitely. They used to teach us all this, our dialect. And it helps. It really helps us. It really helps in everything, even in solving some mathematics and then. But now, presently now, I don't even my children self, I used to talk to them in my Igbo language, and then they used to reply to me in English. And which is causing a very big problem I have in my house, because I used to flog them because of it. You understand? You know, it has given me a big concern that because my children cannot stand very well and speak, because my own tribe, our own Igbo tribe, it's not like Anambra style, you know, there is central Igbo. Like me, I am from Imo State. I am from Ibi State. There is a tribe. There is a way we speak our own Igbo.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So in Igbo land, there is so many
dialects of the Igbo. Yes.
Yes. So I used to force myself to speak that my own dialect that I came from. You understand? The little one they speak is that central Igbo. You understand? But I myself always like to teach them because I am married from Abia State. And Abia State, my wife, her own type of the dialect is also different from my own. You understand?
True.
So all these things are causing problems. But if they will bring it back, it will help the whole family. Thank you.
Thank you very much, John Legend, for calling. So, you Mr. Adeshola, do you see the challenge I'm talking about?
Yes.
The different dialects in each of the languages. Like he told you, there is the Imo Igbo, and even in the Imo Igbo, in the sub-communities, they also have some different, maybe it's in the stress placement or something. The same thing too with possibly Yoruba and Hausa. So if we are saying we want to integrate these languages and make it to be like the official mother tongue for instructions and communication in the school, I really don't know how that is possible, but it's like you have said, is a welcome development. To wrap up just quickly, let's just wrap it up and then be done with the program.
It's something that is achievable. All we need is to get the interest of the young people. The creative industry is one avenue through which we can implement this.
Good. Creative industry, which is movies, entertainment, songs.
Davido, they key into this. It will be awesome.
Sure.
I think there's one nice, of course, he has already, and a lot of people that are non-Yoruba connect with his songs. Yes. So there's a lot we can do. The creative industry, because we are talking about the millennials now.
Yes.
The Gen Zs. Yes. It's very important because they flow more with that space. So let us find their passion. Let us invest in this, this space, the industry. Let this content now become an everyday thing. You will be surprised what they will create by themselves. And we won't have to worry, because the truth is that these kids, they know how they communicate amongst themselves. Look at the chat, chat messaging, for example. The way they develop all kinds of abbreviations and everybody connects with it. This is neuro-linguistics.
That's true.
You don't need, the brain is a super transmitter. The brain can connect, already naturally.
True.
So let's not worry too much. If we make it interesting, the kids will key into it. All
right. Thank you very much, Mr. Adeshola Kukoyi, founder Equilibrium Perspectives, for coming on the program and helping us to analyze the conversation this morning. My name is Esther Nwachukwu. You can follow me on Instagram at Esther Nwaz, on Twitter at Esther Nwachukwu, and on Facebook at Esther Nwachukwu. Mr. Adeshola Kukoyi, what's your social media handle?
Well, I am on LinkedIn as Adeshola Kukoyi.
As a professional.
If you Google my name, Adeshola Kukoyi, ADESHOLA KUKOYI. Just ask Google, who is Adeshola Kukoyi?
And definitely Google will bring you out there. Will definitely bring out the identity. All right, thank you so much for being part of the conversation today. Tomorrow, Issues in the News continues right about the same time. Do have yourselves an amazing, fantastic Monday.
Voice of the People, 90.3 FM.